with Vigani Dragonkin. I am an artist. I do video game streams, and I'm doing also podcasts on every Saturday. That's what I'm trying to at least have. Today's interview is with LSD. And she has quite a lot of books written in her lifetime, and today we're going to talk about her book, The Peak Performance Diet. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Vigani. Thank you for having me on your podcast. Well, my background is in science, and I've spent decades researching nutrition and the body's ability to stay healthy and heal itself through food. Early in my career, I became fascinated by the idea that what we eat could dramatically change our energy, our immune system, and even our athletic potential. That curiosity eventually led me to open one of California's first living food restaurants, where I spent years creating raw plant-based meals and watching people transform their health in front of my eyes. It was pretty exciting. I've written several books on nutrition and nutritional healing, but this particular one, which is called The Peak Performance Diet, Optimal Nutrition for Athletes and Active People, it focuses on enhancing athletic performance with a raw plant-based diet. This topic feels especially close to my heart because it brings together everything I've learned about performance enhancement, healing, and the power of eating food in its natural raw state. My goal has always been to make this information accessible so people can feel their best and perform at the highest level in athletic competitions. I myself was very athletic and still actually I'm pretty athletic, and I really feel as though fueling your body in the right way with diet is the way to go.
What motivates you to write The Peak Performance Diet?
Well, I wrote this book because I kept seeing athletes work incredibly hard while unknowingly sabotaging their performance with food. They were making the wrong choices when it came to food in terms of fueling their bodies. They were training intensely, buying expensive supplements, pushing their bodies to the limit, but they weren't giving their bodies the kind of fuel that actually supports high-level performance. Once I saw how dramatically raw plant-based eating improves energy, stamina, and recovery in real people based on my own experience, I realized this information needed to be accessible to everyone, not just those who stumbled on it by accident. So I started to do some research, looked into the peer-reviewed sources, which is based on my background. That's what I'm used to doing, and this book was the result of that research.
Why do you believe that a raw vegan approved diet is the most nutritional and effective fuel for athletes?
Well, we are a plant-based species physiologically, and raw food is simply food in its original natural state, which is how all wild living creatures consume it. That's what we're meant to eat as a species, and what all species on this planet are meant to eat. When we cook food, which is an unnatural process, we destroy enzymes, we damage vitamins, and we alter the structure of proteins and fats. Athletes need clean, efficient fuel for their performance. And the great thing about raw foods is that they digest easily, they provide more nutrients per calorie, and they support the body instead of burdening it. When active people switch to raw foods, they often describe it as feeling like someone turned the lights back on inside their body. It gives us a natural high feeling and lots of energy that can be used to enhance athletic performance.
Okay, let me go to the next question. Come on. Okay, Discord is really slow right now. Okay. How does nutrition and the nutritionist deny translated into a better athletic performance?
Well,
nutrition.
nutrient density
Yeah.
leads to better athletic performance because enhancing performance of athletes starts at the cellular level. Micronutrients like magnesium, potassium, antioxidants, and phytonutrients all help the body use oxygen more efficiently, reduce oxidative stress, and support mitochondrial function, which enhances energy. Raw fruits and vegetables deliver these nutrients in its most potent form and the best bang for the calorie. So athletes are challenged with both getting enough energy to perform as well as keeping their weight low so they don't have a lot of excess mass on their bodies generally. When athletes start eating this way, they often feel like they've unlocked a new level of endurance because their cells are finally getting what they need to perform optimally.
Why is fruit such an full, ideal full source for nutritional energy?
Well, fruit's a great fuel source. It's basically what our cousins, the chimpanzees, live on. Their closest wild living relatives. Fruit sugars come packaged with fiber, water, and vitamins, so they release energy steady and cleanly. There's no crash, no heaviness, and no digestive burden. Athletes feel lighter, more energized, and more focused when their primary fuel comes from fruit instead of heavy cooked meals. It's a difference between running on jet fuel versus running on sludge. The other side of this is that if you are doing extreme endurance sports like marathon running, for example, then carbohydrates can also complex carbohydrates can also be helpful because they provide sustained energy. So it kind of depends a little bit on whether you need immediate energy or whether you need sustained energy. And perhaps even a mix of the two might make sense in your specific case.
What does role what does role does for nutritional play? What does the role of raw nutrition plays in immunity and inflammation?
Well, raw foods are naturally anti-inflammatory and rich in antioxidants, so they support the immune system instead of suppressing it. Athletes who eat raw food tend to recover faster, get sick less often, and feel more resilient, so they recover faster. Their bodies aren't constantly fighting inflammation from foods, so they can focus on healing and performance. Cooked food is inflammatory, so this is definitely a benefit for athletes. And also the diet also strongly influences circulation and oxygen flow. And this is a really, really key point to enhancing the performance of athletes. High-fat foods tend to thicken the blood, which then slows oxygen delivery. Well, oxygen's what you burn. It's your energy source. So raw, low-fat foods keep the blood clean and fluid, allowing oxygen to reach your muscles quickly. Better circulation means better stamina, faster recovery, overall stronger performance. Many athletes notice improvements not just in their workouts, but in their mental clarity and even their sexual performance because circulation affects everything.
What does weight normalization means for athletes?
Well, weight normalization means that the body naturally finds its ideal weight without dieting or restriction. The nice thing about raw foods is that they're low in fat and high in fiber, so the body sheds excess weight and stabilizes at a healthy, efficient level for athletic performance. Again, it's not about being thin, it's about being in the body's natural equilibrium. So if you're a strength trainer, for example, then you need to be bulky. But if you're a marathon runner, then being slim and wiry is where it's at. So again, weight normalization is about getting to the right weight without excess fat for your athletic performance.
Why is excessive protein intake harmful for athletes' performance?
Well, a lot of athletes are under the false impression that athletes need a lot of protein, but excess protein can be harmful. Excess protein creates acidic byproducts, it strains the kidneys, and it slows recovery. So athletes don't need huge amounts of protein. Sure, they need amino acids, and plants provide those amino acids in a clean, usable form. Plants are the ultimate source of all amino acids, so it doesn't really make sense to be getting them from animals, because usually the protein is coming with a lot of fat, and that fat is the enemy of your athletic performance. So the best thing is to go back to the plants that created those amino acids in the first place, and getting the amino acids without all the saturated fat that comes from animal products. So when athletes stop overloading on protein, they often feel lighter, they recover faster, and they typically experience fewer injuries from overuse.
Why is low-fat diet so beneficial for athletes?
Well, I talked about this a little bit before. Fat slows digestion, it clogs circulation, and it therefore inhibits oxygen delivery. When athletes reduce fat in their diet, everything speeds up. Their circulatory system opens up. They feel a sense of greater energy. They recover faster, better mental clarity, and athletic performance gets enhanced as a result. Now, some healthy fats are still important, but they really should be consumed sparingly in amount, typically less than 10% of dietary calories. Now, remember that fats have twice the dietary calories of other macronutrients like protein or carbohydrates. So they are potentially getting in the way of weight loss, if that is your objective. Also, they clog insulin receptors in your muscles, so that can lead to excess fat gain around the body, because insulin results in the deposition of fat on the body. So most athletes are eating far more fat than their bodies can safely handle, and this can prompt both weight gain and result in chronic disease. So the best way to do that is to, again, stay low fat. Less than 10% of dietary calories is recommended.
Around 1 gram of fat is around 9 gram of carbohydrate, and carbohydrate is 4, and protein is also 4. I remember
Right.
that alcohol is around 7. That's what I remember.
Alcohol?
Yes, around 7. Something in the alcohol process makes it get it more calorie than normal carbohydrates.
That's interesting. Well, alcohol isn't a part of any healthy diet.
Yeah.
It kills 2 million people a year, and it's just toxic. Don't consume alcohol.
Yeah, I'm not going to drink. I don't like alcohol, but I just a funny fact.
Didn't know that.
Now you know. You did learn something too. You're never too old to learn something.
Exactly.
Why? What makes enzymes so essential for digesting and perform digestion and performance?
Are you asking what makes enzymes essential for athletes?
Essential for digestion and perform for athletes. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what.
Okay. Right. Okay. So enzymes are a key element of raw food that is completely missing in cooked food. Enzymes have a very specific shape, and when a food is cooked, it vibrates the enzymes, which are a type of protein, and it changes their shape. Well, when the shape is different, it's kind of like trying to put your key into a lock that's been deformed. It won't fit. And so the things that are meant to be catalyzed into an essential reaction in the body can no longer be catalyzed by that enzyme. Basically, they become ineffective. So they're like the spark plugs of digestion and metabolism. When food is cooked, again, those enzymes are destroyed and the body has to produce its own. And this drains energy. So you ever wondered why, raw food seems so energizing and cooked food seems so draining? Well, that's partly due to the fact that the enzymes are denatured in cooked food, and you can't fix that. That's just the fact. So raw foods come with their own digestive enzymes, which make digestion easier, and then it frees up your energy for training and recovery. So, I just can't stress enough how much more energy people who eat a pure 100% raw food diet have than people who don't. Until you've tried it, you really have no idea what having a proper energy level is like.
Why are vitamins B and vitamin C especially important for athletes?
Oh, okay. Well, B vitamins tend to support energy production, neurological health, and vitamin C supports the immune system, enhances tissue repair. So both of them are found primarily in raw foods. Cooking foods tends to degrade B vitamins and it destroys vitamin C. So you're not getting the benefit of these vitamins unless you're supplementing. So these vitamins are essential for athletes and they're abundant in raw foods. Cooking destroys most of these vitamins, so eating food raw ensures athletes gets the full nutritional benefit and gets these vitamins that are necessary for their optimal performance.
Why do athletes on raw diets need supplements? And if so, why? Do athletes on raw diets need supplements? And if so, why?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say that, mostly they don't need so much supplements because the vitamins are not getting destroyed. And so with a raw diet, most nutritional needs are being met through food. But depending on your location and lifestyle, a few supplements can be helpful. The first is vitamin B12 that comes from microbes. It's required in minute amounts of 2.4 micrograms a day. I don't even think you can see that amount. It's so tiny. But if you don't have it, you don't get optimal nerve function. So it is important. The other important supplement that could be taken for optimal brain function is EPA and DHA. EPA and DHA are obtained from marine algae, and they help the brain function, and particularly they assist memory. Now, athletes who need muscle gain can supplement with synthetic creatine. This helps build muscle. And if sunlight exposure is lacking on the skin, then vitamin D can be obtained from lichen. This can be useful too. So it's also useful for the immune system. So the key is, when you do choose supplements, is choosing clean, high quality supplements that complement the raw vegan diet. You don't have to supplement vitamin C and B with the exception of B12 typically, because you're not killing those by cooking the food. The key is, in general, supplements should support your body, not overwhelm it. So you don't want to overdose on supplements. You want to see what the proper dose is to support your particular athletic needs. The needs of a bodybuilder is going to be very different to the needs of an endurance runner. So you just, optimize. And also, depending on your sunlight exposure, you'll need to determine whether vitamin D3 is necessary. If you're getting, say, 10 minutes of sunlight between the hours of 10 and 2 mostly you won't even need to supplement D3 at all. But if you're in a northern latitude, particularly in the winter, then vitamin D3 could be essential. So lichen is the natural source of that for plant-based dieters. So you can obtain those supplements online.
Why are... Oh, sorry. That's... Oh, sorry, I think that's... what is the easiest way for someone to begin transitioning to this diet?
Well, my transition was overnight, so I really, that worked great for me. But if you want to go a little bit more slowly, then I'd start with breakfast. Make your first meal raw. Fruit salads, smoothies, juices, that sort of thing. Once people feel the difference in their enhanced morning energy, they naturally want to expand that feeling into the rest of the day. So I think that's a way if you prefer to go slow. And that'll also help reduce any possibility of a Herxheimer reaction, which Herxheimer reactions, sometimes called die-off reactions, are basically your body detoxing the substances that are released by dying gut flora when you change your diet. The flora in your gut, the microbes that live in your gut, have particular foods that they prefer. And when you stop giving it those foods, then they die off. And the die-off can release toxic products that your body then goes through a detox process. So a detox process we typically think of as a flu. That is an example of a detox process. So it might feel like a little bit like a mild flu, mild unwellness, but it's temporary, and afterwards you should feel much better. So usually just, in my choice, I just tough through it. But other people prefer to transition more slowly, so the die-off is not that dramatic.
I think it probably also depends on how bad your diet was before. I think.
Right. If you ate a lot of animal products, then you might feel a little bit worse. If you didn't eat, if you were vegan already, then it might not even be noticeable. Mm-hmm. So, basically, I encourage a transition that is intuitive and motivated by feeling better rather than forced. In my case, I just was so inspired by the possibility that I just did it overnight, and that's what felt better for me, and that's how I generally transition my diet anyway. If I know that something's right, why spend even a moment being wrong?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. So.
What challenge is... Here... Which one was I on? What challenges do people face when they transition, and how can they overcome them? Oh, did I already ask that?
No, you didn't. I think you're asking what challenges do people face when transitioning, and how do they overcome them?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in my view, the biggest challenge is usually psychological. It's all in your mind. People tend to be attached to cooked foods, both emotionally and culturally. The same for animal products. These are unnecessary, completely unnecessary for the human. And cooked food, again, completely unnecessary. There's just absolutely no physiological need for us to be eating cooked food. Every other creature on the planet eats raw food. So, we kill our food by cooking it, and that's a major problem that we have as a species. So it's certainly not, you're not changing anything that's essential. You're changing things that are better, things that are better for you. I say just, whatever emotionally and culturally and habitually is tying you to cooked foods, just you need to sever that and change that. And the key is focusing on abundance rather than restriction. There's about somewhere between 80 to 300,000, plant species on the planet that we could be consuming as humans. So we have lots and lots and lots of choices. And you just need to go to the grocery store, go to the produce section, go to the bulk bins and make choices and keep it raw. When people eat enough raw food, especially fruit, the chimpanzee diet has about 50% fruit in it and about 40% greens, just to give you a sense. But when you eat enough raw food, your cravings for cooked food naturally diminish. Also, when a person feels exactly how depressed their energy becomes by eating cooked food after being fully raw, they tend to stop. They understand that there's a problem, and unless, for example, they want to go to sleep, then eating cooked food is obviously an energy drain.
What does hydration improve? How does hydration improve nutrition all on a raw diet?
Well, unless you're dehydrating food, raw foods are naturally hydrating because they contain structured water. And this is the kind that the body absorbs most easily. Athletes often find they need less hydration because their food is doing part of the work for them. Eating fruits are often very juicy. So this improves their endurance and reduces fatigue. So living water comes from living foods. And that's the idea, is you are basically eating your fluids, eating your hydration. An example would be a wild example would be the gorillas. They hardly drink at all. I think it was only recently that a gorilla was ever even observed actually drinking, because their food contains so much hydration.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Not many people do. It's everyone thinks, oh yes, gorillas must be chugging water. No.
Yeah.
Hardly ever seen. Only once recently observed were they ever observed drinking anything.
It's quite a lot different from deer. I see. I've seen a lot of deer drinking.
Oh yes, deer do drink, but gorillas not so much.
What change do athletes typically notice first when they switch to a raw vegan approved diet?
Oh, okay. Well, the first things people tend to notice are increased energy, lighter and easier digestion, and improved mental clarity. They start noticing faster recovery from their athletic workouts, better sleep, less need for sleep, more stable moods, and actually even more positive moods. So performance improvements tend to follow naturally. You have more energy, you sleep better, you have more time during the day to do things because you don't need to sleep as much, and you feel great. Yay. So it's, feeling good inside your body and feeling energetic is naturally conducive to athletic workouts.
How does this diet support a long-term athletic longevity?
Longevity?
Yeah, longevity.
Well, athletic longevity is how long you can continue to perform as an athlete, given your chosen sport. Raw foods reduce inflammation, support immunity, and most importantly, they keep your vascular system clean. A clean vascular system means that your arteries are not clogged, they are not hardened, they're soft and flexible like a balloon instead of hard and inflexible like a hose. So they allow your blood pressure to normalize and stay stable, and improves your overall blood flow to your tissues, which then allows you to have greater not only endurance, but also stay healthier longer as an athlete. So this is your athletic longevity. It also, of course, increases your long-term longevity and tends to decrease your visible aging, which is kind of interesting for those who are looking to stay young longer. So this, the overall raw foods mean fewer injuries, faster healing, and a body that stays strong and resilient over time. Athletes who eat raw often find they can train harder and longer without burnout. So this means that you can get into the shape you need to be in for a competition faster and easier.
Um, what do case studies in your book review about real athletes using this diet?
Well, the case studies are very remarkable, and they show this approach works across many disciplines: running, cycling, martial arts, dance, and more. The athletes I highlight didn't just improve their performance, they improved their overall quality of life. Their stories prove that raw, plant-based nutrition is a powerful tool for transformation for athletes and helps both enhance their performance and really changes their life in a favorable way.
Um, how does the study how does this diet affect mental performance and focus?
Well, as I mentioned before, raw foods improve circulation and they reduce inflammation, and this directly affects brain function. Athletes often report sharper focus, better reaction times, better moods, and a calmer, more centered mental state. The mind becomes clearer because the body isn't cooked down and bogged down by heavy cooked foods high in saturated fats.
Um, Many people are surprised to learn how many athletes thrive on plant-based diets. You explain. Can you talk about some well-known vegan athletes and what their success show?
I think this is one of the most powerful real-world validations of plant-based performance. Is looking at the elite athletes that are currently thriving on plant-based diets and enhancing their performance. I mean, we have top, tennis athletes like Novak Djokovic, excuse me for mispronouncing his name, who have relied heavily on plant-based eating to improve endurance, reduce inflammation, and extend their career. I mean, these are absolute top performers. It really opens the eyes of other athletes when they see someone of this stature performing so well on a plant-based diet. Another tennis legend, Venus Williams, adopted a raw plant-based diet to manage an autoimmune condition, and she credits it with allowing her to stay competitive at the highest level. I don't think she really totally knew how awesome it could be until she tried it. So I think that's a testament to the success. In football, we have players like Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick, and they've publicly talked about how going vegan improved their recovery, reduced joint pain, and helped them maintain strength as a football players without the inflammation that they used to struggle with. When it comes to endurance sports, we have athletes like ultra marathoner Scott Jurek, who've shown that a plant-based diet can fuel extraordinary feats of stamina and resilience. So when you see athletes across tennis, football, and long distance running all thriving on plant-based nutrition, it becomes clear that the body performs best when it's fueled with clean, oxygen-friendly, anti-inflammatory foods, which is exactly what a raw plant-based diet provides.
Um, Thanks for having you today. Do you have any plans for the future and any type of things that you want to share more?
Oh, well, certainly. I'll probably be writing some more books. Right now, I've been working on music, which I find very helpful and very interesting. So once I have a little bit of pause there, I think I'll go back to writing some more books on different subjects, as they also, subjects evolve over time. And I think I was wanting to write a book on wildlife conservation. That's something that you and I have discussed in the past when I worked on a high-profile wildlife conservation case in Mexico regarding the Vaquita marina porpoise that is critically endangered on the verge of extinction. So I wanted to encourage people to get involved in preserving wildlife in their vicinity.
Okay. That's nice. Oh, so I hope you will have a nice day. I think this was the end of the podcast for today already. We did go.
Well, thank you.
We did go quite
Yeah.
quick through the questions today compared to other days.
Right. Well, I thought that maybe I'd been giving you too many questions, so I made them a little shorter this time.
Yeah. Okay then. I probably have you again next week for another interview / podcast. And then we were thinking about what the topic is for them. But for now,
Okay,
bye
thank you.
everybody, every listeners. So I hope you learned something from today's interview.
And people can find my website, www.peakperformancediet.com, and they can visit and consult with me there. Also, my book's available at Amazon. Maybe I'll share the link with viewers so that they can check it out if they're interested.
Yeah, I posted in the comment in the description on YouTube.